Welcome back to H360 Health Talk. I'm here with Michael Leviton, Business Development Liaison from RWJBarnabas Health, and we're here to talk about January being Blood Donation Month. Mike, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
So, Mike, I understand you have a personal experience with receiving blood, and I would imagine, well, first of all, I hope you share that with us, but I would imagine that's kind of behind a lot of the work that you do now currently today to get the word out about blood donation.
Yes, so 19 years ago, so a lifetime ago it seems, I'll give my age away a little bit, I was 23, 24, almost 20 years, wow. And I had a routine blood test, and I had been healthy all my life, nothing wrong, no history of anything in my family. And then I got diagnosed with something called CML, which is chronic myelogenous leukemia, which is usually common among 50 and 60-year-olds. It's very rare for anyone in their 20s, and almost unheard of for any child to have. So it was kind of a unique case. And at that time, I was diagnosed. There were some treatments around. There was a miracle treatment that they were working on that actually is a drug called Gleevec, which is widely used.
Yeah.
And that actually was directly developed for CML. And at the time where I was diagnosed, it was in trials. So I wasn't able to get on the trial because I was newly diagnosed. No one in my family matched me. And I will give a shout out to the bone marrow registry and encourage people to sign up for that. There are a lot of people on the bone marrow registry, but DNA is very complex, so I encourage everybody to sign up for bone marrow registry, bethematch.org. So no one in the United States matched, so they had to go to England. And it just so happened, which not coincidentally, my grandfather was born in England, and they found a gentleman that had signed up for the bone marrow registry in England, and he was a perfect match for me, which is rare, that you would have someone not related to you. So they did the bone marrow procedure to get his bone marrow. The person got on a plane at Heathrow with a bag of bone marrow, flew across the pond, as they say, to JFK, went to New York Presbyterian Hospital, handed the bone marrow off. Bone marrow went to the lab for a few hours, and then into me through a transfusion. So all in the course of about 12 to 14, 16 hours. So, and then the process of recovery, I needed probably over 55 units of IVIG, which is a plasma derivative, platelets, I needed some red cells, Neupogen, Epigen for the science people.
Yep.
So it took probably hundreds of people really back then, 19 years ago, or almost 20, so that I could be here today with my two children who wouldn't be here today. So, I do use my story to inspire.
Sure.
Which it has done over the years, inspire a lot of people, some of which, so I've been in this world for about 15 years. And I still keep in contact with some of those first donors from 15 years ago that are still donating because of my efforts. So a lot of it is certainly personal. And after 19 years, I just contacted my bone marrow donor. I hadn't contacted him for 19 years. We got it together. His name is Chris. He lives in Liverpool, for all those Beatles fans. So he does live near Liverpool. He loves motorcycles and has a koi pond.
So when you talk about getting on the bone marrow list, getting your name on the list and being able to, in your case, find a match in England, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting on the list and actually going in and donating a sample of bone marrow, are you? What is the process? How did that individual get his bone marrow readings in, I'm assuming, a global database?
Correct.
Right?
Right.
How does that happen?
Well, it's a swab of the mouth.
Okay.
So they're basically Q-tips in a way that you swab each corner of your mouth, and then some of your DNA is on that swab. And the swab gets sent to the lab, and then it gets tested for different, it's HLA, testing for 10 different markers that they use to identify someone if they match.
So, it strikes me when I go to the DMV, for example, right? There's a question: do you want to be an organ donor?
Right.
Right. So I can put it on my driver's license, and I'm very happy to say I am an organ donor. I think everybody, I hope, would feel the same way. Is there? Do you have a relationship with the DMV where they can help promote blood donation, or doesn't really work that way?
It doesn't really work that way, although if you want to give the governor a call, I encourage you to do that. It doesn't work that way. I think organ donation is a little different than blood donation. So we don't have a relationship with the DMV, but we're always looking to raise awareness, which is not always easy. I think the best way, I think it's important to have flyers and billboards, and this video hopefully will be, instrumental in getting more people to donate. But I think the best way for anyone watching this video is to watch it and then go talk to 5 people in your family and recruit them to donate, and ask yourself the question: has anyone in my family ever been in those situations? And the answer is almost always yes.
Yeah.
So that's the way. It's kind of word of mouth works well too. And many of our longtime donors are donating because their parents needed blood transfusions that cured them of whatever they had.
I would think that, with the millennials and their conscious effort to do good and get involved in things, I would hope that you would see, an uptick in blood donation. And you mentioned, get out, put a flyer in front of somebody, ask that person to tell 5 other people.
Right.
And organize a little trip down to the donation center, 5 or 6 of your friends and family. And I think that could be, do you see that? Do you see the millennials do you see an uptick in blood donation?
Well, we have, and a lot of the donation centers have been looking to Instagram and Facebook and to really try to capture the imagination.
Yeah.
Things work differently than they did, 30 years ago. So we do see some of that going on where people will donate blood and then take a picture of their arm and put it on Instagram.
Right.
So we see that kind of starting, and a lot of the larger social media corporations are adopting blood donation, which is great. So it's I think a little more work than it has been, but once it catches on, it's real. It's there.
You've really enlightened me to some of the science behind blood donation. It's a very easy process. I hope that everybody watching this grabs 5 or 6 friends, heads down to the blood donation center, because it really is an important cause. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing.
No, thank you. And again, the greatest gift you can give really is the gift of life.